Inside Michigan Football is presented by Meyer. Hi again, friends, and welcome to another edition of Inside Michigan Football. Doug Karsh alongside two-time Michigan captain John Jansen. The Wolverines improved to 9-0 with a 41-13 victory Saturday night over Purdue. No bye hangover. Wolverines came out of the gate fast.
They did. I mean, 2 touchdowns on both their first 2 possessions. They were effective and efficient offensively. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And defensively, they were dominant all game long.
Little lull in the middle offensively, but they finished strong. And let's go right to the highlights. We pick it up with the Wolverines facing a 3rd and 7. And J.J. McCarthy finds Roman Wilson on 3rd down. He did a lot of that Saturday.
He did a lot. He had 143 total yards, 9 catches. And when you have a guy that's operating on a defense where they're trying to go man coverage, that's where Roman Wilson's really going to excel.
Here's Kalel Mullings back from injury. He bounces this run outside. Good to have him back.
It was 14 yards for Kalel Mullings, and you see when you get to the sidelines, it's always best to be the giver than the taker.
All right, let's go to Jansen Vision for this mismatch.
And this mismatch, you got Donovan Edwards. You can't see him on film here, but this is the linebacker right here, number 47, that's trying to get out to match up. And as soon as JJ sees that this is the linebacker, even though he's getting there late, he could be lined up there, it doesn't matter. That's a complete mismatch. And as he gets out there, the ball is snapped. JJ sees it right away. And Donovan Edwards, we know as a pass catcher, he's as good as it comes coming out of the backfield, and he's a guy that if you see that matchup against a linebacker, he'll win that matchup every time.
That set up this Blake Corum 1-yard touchdown run, and the Wolverines led it 7-0. The defense then forces a 3-and-out, some good pass rush and some good coverage downfield to get the ball back to the Michigan offense. And this is where the Wolverines got it going. First, we'll go to Roman Wilson for 20 yards. And again, that guy, what a night.
Well, it was unbelievable. And he's done a great job of identifying the defense. I mentioned they were going to be running a lot of man tonight. They did a good job, or he did a good job of understanding the difference and recognizing the difference, sitting down when he needed to and running through when he didn't.
On 3rd and 6, J.J. finds Tyler Morris to move the chains. And let's go to Jansen Vision as we pick it up with the Wolverines knocking on the door.
Yeah, and we mentioned when you're in man, we're gonna highlight a couple of different things. And Max Bredesen is out here right now. He's going to come in and out. That motion there is going to identify exactly what type of coverage they're in. As a defender goes with them, you're going to watch A.J. Barner. He's going to come up here, pick off that defender. You're going to also have Max Bredesen coming back out here to lead the way, and then Cornelius Johnson coming back through, and it turns out to be the exact same thing that you want. You've got your A.J. Barner setting this guy up, blocking in here, Max Bredesen making the 180, block here, and then your running back, Cornelius is coming right through here, is going to take you down into what we're now calling the Blake Corum zone, and that's anywhere inside the 5-yard line. It's a beautiful setup and beautiful execution.
And that did indeed lead to this Blake Corum 3-yard touchdown run. Michigan led it 14-0. Purdue gets the ball back, and we go to Jansen Vision one more time as Will Johnson jumps a route here.
And this one, it just shows you the effect the pass rush can have, even if you don't get home. This is a little TE stunt, and we always lead with the first one. That's why the T, he's going to come out here, and he's going to occupy both guard and tackle. And that's going to leave Jalen Harrell the ability to come around and put pressure on the quarterback. And when he does, that ball is off the mark. It's rushed. A great execution up front. It leads to the interception downfield. And, I mean, hey, I'll take Will Johnson with the ball in his hand just like I would Roman Wilson or CJ going down the field.
He had 2 picks against Purdue last year in the Big Ten title game. That led to a field goal for James Turner, and Michigan led it 17-0. Pick it up with the ensuing Purdue possession. They have a 3rd and 1 here. Absolutely blown up by Braden McGregor and Jalen Harrell.
Yeah, Braden McGregor, both of these guys had really big days. Braden McGregor, he was explosive. He shed blocks, just like the rest of the defensive front did.
Michigan gets the ball back, and here we find Purdue in the neutral zone, so JJ can take a shot, finds Colston Loveland for a big gainer. Wolverines got way behind the sticks. Here's 2nd and 28. Over the middle, he finds a sliding Cornelius Johnson.
Yeah, and honestly, when you're 2nd and 26, you'd love to pick it all up, but your goal is to pick up at least half of it. You know you've got another down to try and convert that first, but to be able to pick up half of it and give yourself a fighting chance on 3rd.
So here it is, 3rd and 11. Roman Wilson and the Wolverines moved the sticks. He was great on third down all night long, and that led to another James Turner field goal. Michigan led it 20-0. Michigan's defense then would force a punt. An unfortunate mistake here sets up Purdue. They didn't get it, short punt. These are tricky plays. Hits one of the up men, and Purdue recovers.
Yeah, and this is just where communication becomes a big issue. If you're the returner, you're not going to field it. You got to let everybody know, hey, get away. It's the only turnover. Counts as a turnover.
Hudson Card goes 21 yards. He was effective running the football and scrambling, and this got Purdue knocking on the door. That led to a Purdue field goal as the Michigan defense gets the job done in the red zone. The Wolverines lead it 20-3. Then the Wolverines' ensuing possession, this was a 4th and 1 that they got stuffed in their own end of the field.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with going for it with the way that this defense has been able to stand up and play against opponents, especially in the red zone. I did have an issue with the play selection. Not a big fan of it, but hey, they didn't convert, but you got faith in your defense. They
didn't convert because Ernest Hausman and Josh Wallace combined on a 4-yard loss on this play. And then Braden McGregor comes up with a quarterback hit. That forces a field goal, and Michigan led it 20-6 at the half. We'll have second half highlights when we continue from the Big House. You're watching Inside Michigan Football. Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2023 Michigan football season and proud supporter of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest.
I'm very excited to watch the film because just to see if it was as bad as it felt or if it wasn't as bad as it felt. Just rising to that standard that we hold ourselves to. We got to tighten some stuff down and clean some stuff up, but, it's good to have a win like that.
I think it's just like a competitive nature of this team. Like, there's a lot of people, just like the starters and the backups, like everyone wants to play, you can't let up. And it's just like the focus that the coaches put in us and showing us details and being locked in on all that.
We just all focus on one goal. Like, we're not gonna let anything, deter us from, what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. So, I feel like our offense and our defense, we just on a one-track mind.
Doug Karst, John Jansen back at the Big House. Wolverines beat Purdue on Saturday night. It's time for second half highlights. We'll pick it up with the Wolverines' first possession. JJ flushed out of the pocket and finds Colston Loveland for 9 yards. JJ's so good creating extra time.
Well, he's good at creating extra time, and when you've got big targets, and Colston Loveland qualifies as a monster target, it's easy to find those guys when you're running around.
That drive stalled. Michigan punted. Here's Purdue on a 3rd and 8, and Card under heavy pressure. Will Johnson will get a pass break up here, but it's the pass rush that makes this play.
Yeah, it was the pass rush combined, and we talked about this just in the first half. The pass rush affects the pass, gives the secondary the opportunity to either deflect the ball or come up with a pick.
Here's a 3rd and 3, and JJ finds third down. It's Roman Wilson, as always, 11 yards.
Yeah, we have the Blake Corum zone, and we also have, I think, the Roman Wilson down.
Yeah.
That's third down.
All right, let's pick up Jansen vision here with the Wolverines at the Purdue 44.
And I love it when the ball gets in the hands of Samaj Morgan. I know he's young, he's inexperienced, but he makes plays. And I love the fact that Purdue, Michigan identified that they're in man coverage quite a bit. And as Samaj comes across, I want you to watch. This is Samaj. He's going to come across. He's going to get the ball from JJ, but you've got a guy that's in man coverage. He is solely focused and locked in on Samaj Morgan as he comes across. I'm going to let this run just a little bit. Now, Cornelius Johnson, his whole job right here is to pick off the guy that has Samaj. So he comes up here, makes the block. This defender is so zeroed in on Cornelius Johnson. Cornelius, in effect, ends up blocking 2 guys at one time until he realizes it's too late, and Samaj is off to the end zone.
God, he's a promising young player. That made it 27-6, Michigan. Here's Jake Thaw on a punt return, setting up Michigan with great field position. Jake Thaw weaving and making people miss. Good return here.
I thought he was going to make me the smartest guy in the room because of the pregame. One of my keys was I wanted to see a kick return for a touchdown or a punt return for a touchdown, and I got excited. I thought this one was going to go the distance.
All right, on that drive, JJ with all kinds of time, 19 yards to Roman Wilson here.
Again, I mean, when you have a connection like JJ and Roman have, that's something that can really be an advantage, especially in the next 3 games.
And here's the outstanding sophomore tight end, Colston Loveland, 17 yards. Third quarter turns to fourth. This is 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. Blake cuts it inside for his 3rd touchdown of the game to make it 34-6.
He just seems inside that 5-yard line, whether it's getting in behind the offensive line or finding those little nooks and crannies, he does a great job of being able to set up blocks and then be able to get north and south to get in the end zone.
All right, we pick it up. Purdue's ensuing possession with Jansen Vision.
And I want to watch on this one. This is a unique blitz because normally, we've talked about this before, whether it's a TE or it could be a TT. This one is actually a T linebacker dog, and then you bring a linebacker around here. And when you watch Mike Barrett come around, you got Junior Colson, you got Big Kenneth Grant coming across, and they attract the attention of this entire offensive line. It frees up Mike Barrett to come in here and get a hit on the quarterback. And, I mean, the timing of it, I'm sorry, it's actually Chris Jenkins that comes around to be able to pressure the quarterback. That is, we talked about this during the broadcast as well. When you have a defensive coordinator that's being creative in terms of, I'm going to bring a corner, I'm going to bring a safety, I'm going to bring a defensive tackle, linebacker, and bring my other defensive tackle around, sometimes those take a long time, but that when they get home, they can be very disruptive.
All right, we pick it up after the Michigan defense forced a punt. Here's Samaj Morgan over the middle, 23 yards. Yards after catch, man. He is a tough runner.
He is. He's physical. He's aggressive. I love his mindset.
All right, here's that guy, Tommy Doman again. The punt goes out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Yeah, give somebody the whole field to have to go.
Money man, right inside, that coffin kick.
All right, here's JJ to Roman Wilson for 35 yards. That connection again, outstanding all Saturday night long. Donovan Edwards got some good yardage here, 7 yards. He seemed multiple times like he was 1 tackle away from breaking one.
It was like a half a step. And, I mean, we've seen this in previous years, especially last year. Whether it was Penn State, that's where Donovan really started to excel. We obviously know we did against Ohio State, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do next week.
JJ finds Roman Wilson here on 3rd down, and that sets up Michigan, 1st and goal. And Donovan Edwards gets in the end zone, a 1-yard touchdown run, 41-6.
Yeah, he had 2 runs inside the 5, got it down to the 1, and then finally punched it in. It's nice to see him get in for his 2nd touchdown.
Purdue would add a late touchdown. Final score, 41-13. Coming out of the bye and with all the noise about the program, all in all, a pretty good night for Michigan.
It was. You saw these kids with all of the noise going on. It's difficult enough to be able to pick up and find rhythm after a bye week, but with all of the distractions that were going on, they showed their singular focus. They're one play, one game, one day at a time.
So, 9-0. We'll hear from the head coach, Jim Harbaugh, next here on Inside Michigan Football.
Just being able to see the guys, come back from that adversity, not being up much going into the half, just coming out after halftime and just exploding. It was real good to see.
It's a great win. A win is a win. We love wins, but we're trying to get better every week and keep the score as low as we can.
Our conversation with the coach is brought to you by Meyer.
JJ played an excellent game, 65%, 335 yards. The extraordinary thing is the 3rd down production. 3rd and 7 plus on the year. He's coming into the game. I think he was 19 for 20 on 3rd and 7 plus, and 3rd downs again today. I don't know what the exact numbers. I think we're 7 for 14, but a lot of them were 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 8, 3rd and more, and a big night for Roman Wilson. Thought he was outstanding. 9 catches, 135 yards. Defense was. That's as many 3 and outs as I can recall, or 1 first down and out. And Tommy Doman, heck of a game, 4 punts inside the 12-yard line. It's just that's just great. Some things to clean up, but mindset is onward to Penn State.
You mentioned 3rd downs offensively. 3rd downs defensively, I think the defense was 1 of 14 in terms of allowing those conversions. I mean, it's rare that you see a number like that. And what makes this team so good on 3rd down?
It's the players, John. Isn't it obvious? There's 20 guys here that are 22, maybe even 23 that'll be playing on Sunday next year, and there's another 30 or so that are right behind them. 35, 50, 55, almost 60, NFL caliber players right now, and other ones that are developing. It's hard to imagine that people can't see that different comments that demean that, but it's the players. They're really good. More rushing touchdowns. I really thought Donovan, got us started there, ignited us, catching the long ball. Blake was really great again. Had a couple in the red zone thing where we got stopped, settled for field goals. Will Johnson, had a monster game. That was from start to finish. He really played lights out.
Samaj Morgan as well, got in the end zone again on the ground.
Yeah, I forgot Samaj. Really got us going there after we had 2 drives where we hadn't put points on the board, and then he breaks off the big one.
When you look at this team, the fact that now you got to go on the road against maybe your best opponent that you've faced so far this year, how do you get this team ready? How do you turn the page?
Yeah, one-track mind. We talked about it in the locker room, celebrated the wins, sang the victors, and on to Penn State.
Yeah, let's talk about third down. Michigan 7 of 14 offensively, Purdue 1 of 14.
When you can win that third down battle, you're extending drives offensively and you're limiting them. Coach Harbaugh even talked about this. I know it brought a big smile to his face, but I don't know that he's seen that many 3-and-outs in the course of a football game, and you can force those by being effective and efficient on first and second down, but you're dominant on third.
Ed Kangerski has our Iron Man of the Week when we continue on Inside Michigan Football.
Our Elro Steel Man of the Week is running back Blake Corum. The senior bulled his way to 3 more touchdowns, giving him a nation-leading 16 this season. Corum also tied Tyrone Wheatley for second place on Michigan's all-time rushing TD list with 47. In his sights next is the all-time leader, Anthony Thomas, with 55. That's now 21 straight wins at the Big House for the Wolverines, the program's longest such streak since 1973.
We can't lose at home. We got all our fans, got a Big House supporting us. The atmosphere here, especially in night games, it's always rocking. So, we can't let the fans down, especially in one of our last night games, in the Big House.
I know everyone's excited for next week, no one more so than you guys. Just give me your early thoughts on the showdown in Happy Valley.
It'll be a good test, ready to go out there. People remember November, so, the most important game is the next game. So just kind of staying consistent, going through the week, preparing how we always prepare, and just ready for this test, ready to go get after it.
They got a great team over there. They played in some big games. We're going to be in a great environment, so it's my first time going out there, so I'm really excited, and I can't wait to prepare all week.
This is when championships are made. This is when, the season's going to be defined. Everything we worked for is for this week. This is what it's about.
Just getting over there in Happy Valley at noon and being able to play a team like that, and it's exciting, very, very exciting. So we got a lot of stuff to clean up, a lot of great days ahead of us at practice, so can't wait to get out there and do that.
Is this a chance to make some sort of statement?
I guess to some people, but we're not worried about statements. We're just worried about W's.
Michigan's point differential in Big Ten games this season is a whopping 226, the largest such margin after 6 games in program history. This week on the road against Penn State, they'll be thrilled with a margin of 1 as they kick off the toughest portion of their schedule. John and Doug will be right back to wrap up this week's show.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2023 Michigan football season and proud supporter of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest.
We're going to respect Penn State like how we respected every single team so far. We're just going to prepare how we have prepared since day one. And, the outcome is going to be the outcome.
All right, Inside Michigan Football next week will be in Happy Valley for Michigan and Penn State. This is a team with some outstanding running backs, a really good defensive line.
Yeah, Abdul Carter, number 11, is linebacker. He falls into that number 11 that they've created at Penn State, a terrific player. Chop Robinson hasn't played in a couple of weeks due to a head injury, so we'll see if he's back or not. I expect him to be back, and that's going to put that defense at full strength. Offensively, you mentioned it's Katron Allen and Singleton in the backfield, 2 sophomores that had great freshman season, and Drew Alar, the quarterback that has a big arm, and the Penn State faithful are just waiting for him to wake up and have that big game.
Well, I'm sure they'll look at it as a statement game. Michigan trying to keep the train on the tracks, going for the Big Ten title. We'll take a look back at that one next week here on Inside Michigan Football.